On the news, ECOWAS schedules fresh meeting over Niger Coup as deadline elapses. Senate in rowdy session over motion to suspend Festus Keyamo's screening. Opposition party PDP condemns President Tinubu's over-bloated cabinet. Many thanks for joining us on News Now. I am Simisala Adigun. The Economic Community of West African States, ECOWAS, has scheduled a fresh meeting over the Niger Republic coup as the deadline earlier set for the military junta has elapsed. The ECOWAS leaders will be considering and discussing the political situation and recent development in Niger during the summit. ECOWAS had met in Abuja in August, where a 7-day deadline was issued for the Niger junta to reinstate ousted President Mohamed Bazoum or risk sanctions, including possible military intervention. But the military regime, which declared their Commander General Abdurrahmani Chiani the new head of state, vowed not to bow to outside pressure. It also warned against foreign intervention, vowing to defend the territorial integrity of Niger. The Sunday, August 6th deadline imposed by ECOWAS on the Niger Coup junta to release and reinstate President Mohamed Bazoum has come and gone, with no sign of military intervention in the troubled country. While ECOWAS has convened another extraordinary summit, Niger's military leaders have announced that they have closed the country's airspace. With the threat of a military intervention, the economic consequence of a possible regional war looms, calling to question Nigeria's ability to afford a war. Our correspondent, Folashade Ogunde, tells us more in this report.
For many Nigerians, the coup in neighboring Niger is a distant political upheaval that should not upset Nigeria's socio-political stability. But for economic watchers, its implications are far-reaching. On Wednesday, the 26th of July, Abdurrahmani Chiani, head of Niger's Presidential Guard, overthrew democratically elected President Mohamed Bazoum and named himself head of state of the West African country 2 days after.
We know that our borders are porous. And, when you look at it, all these things are interwoven. And that is why, Nigeria needs to take appropriate action to ensure that they restore the democratically elected government back to power. Otherwise, because by the time the problem starts, there is no way to not affect Nigeria.
In a swift reaction, ECOWAS, the AU, France, the US, and other international organizations condemned the coup, with regional bloc ECOWAS threatening military intervention and mandating the coup plotters to reinstate Bazoum within 1 week. The deadline has now elapsed since Sunday, the 6th of August, and the Niger junta have announced the closure of the country's airspace until further notice. So what does this mean for Nigeria's international travel industry, as the Nigerian airspace is a crucial air route for destinations in Europe, Asia, and the USA?
You are going to look at airlines now spending an extra 1 hour on flights between the Middle East and parts to Nigeria, because they would have to detour towards Ghana before they coming into Nigeria. So for airlines going between Middle East and South America, that usually fly through the Nigerian airspace, which is revenue generating for both the Nigerian Airspace Management Agency and the NCAA. Such revenues are now will not be available to them. There will be a lot of revenue for those two agencies.
The economic cost of an invasion by Nigerian and ECOWAS troops has not gone unnoticed by the federal government, as the Nigerian Senate over the weekend rejected President Bola Tinubu's request to deploy Nigerian troops in Niger Republic to restore democratic rule in the troubled country.
The Senate recognizes the fact that President Tinubu, by virtue of his correspondence, had not asked for approval of the Parliament or approval of this Senate to go to war, has been erroneously suggested in some quarters. The Senate calls on the President of the Federal Republic of Nigeria as chairman of ECOWAS to further encourage other leaders of ECOWAS to strengthen their political and diplomatic options and other means with a view to resolving the political impasse in the Niger Republic.
It is estimated that Nigeria could expend trillions of naira if it decides to intervene militarily, a heavy cost to the nation's fragile economy. Folashade Ogurinde, TV360 News.
The screening of ministerial nominee Festus Keyamo threw the Nigerian Senate's plenary into a rowdy session following a point of order raised by Senator representing Abia Central Darlington Onwokocha. Onwokocha said Keyamo had in the last administration refused to appear before the Senate to explain how the 52 billion naira appropriated for the program to recruit 1,000 youths from each of the 774 local governments was spent. Onwokocha's motion was immediately seconded by his colleague from Abia South Senatorial District, Eyinaya Abaribe.
I'm of the opinion so strongly that he has to tell us what really happened, but not here. We have to keep it down a little bit. We're not saying that we're not going to clear him. This is a house that can reconvert at any point. You can even call for an emergency and we'll reconvert. Because we would not like what happened at the last administration where some people felt that the president was in charge and so many other things were happening out there. We won't take it this time around. We want a situation, we hold you responsible from the onset. Since Mr. President has started showing us the right hand, we must follow along that side to make sure that we work with him in that right hand as well. Therefore, Mr. President of the Senate, I'm of the opinion that we hold this down a little bit, and I move a motion that we suspend forthwith this nomination and wait until when this is clear, so that he can freely work in our environment and tell Nigerians, I have perfectly done well because this record has been put straight.
And where such a person refuses and deliberately stays away from letting the National Assembly do its work, and in view of the fact that this nominee rejected the summons of both the House of Representatives and the Senate, that I do support that this nominee should be stepped down pending when he decides that the National Assembly has that right to inquire into the workings of a minister and his ministry. I so second.
Senate President Godswill Akpabio thereafter subjected the motion to a voice vote, but the lawmakers were divided on the matter, forcing the Senate President to ask that they go into a closed-door session for further deliberations.
Distinguished colleagues, a motion has been moved and seconded that this Senate do resolve into a closed session to iron out some issues of national concern. Those who are in support of this closed session as moved say aye. Those who are against say nay. The ayes have it. The Senate will now revert to a closed session. The press will leave us, and the nominee will leave us for a while we discuss.
The opposition People's Democratic Party, PDP, has condemned the nomination of 48 ministers by President Bola Tinubu, saying that the high number of ministers will increase the cost of governance. The party made this known in a communique read by Bala Mohammed, Governor of Bauchi State and Chairman of the PDP Governors Forum. He added that the 48 ministers and several special advisors and assistants should be reduced to ensure the health of the economy. The party also advised President Tinubu not to go into any form of war with the Republic of Niger over the recent military coup in the country.
The meeting counseled the federal government to show leadership in curtailing the cost of governance. 47 ministers and several special advisors and assistants would be reduced to ensure the health of our economy by reducing cost. Number 8, the meeting advised the President, Commander-in-Chief, and the government of the Federal Republic of Nigeria not to go into any form of war with the Republic of Niger over the recent military coup in the country. Rather, all tools and dialogues through the diplomatic means should be explored.
The West African Examinations Council, WAEC, has officially released the results of the 2023 West African Senior School Certificate Examination. The examination was held nationwide between May 8 to 23rd of June, with over 1.6 million candidates participating across various exam centers nationwide. Speaking during a press briefing, the head of the National Office for WAEC Nigeria, Patrick Aregan, says out of the total number of candidates that sat for the exams, 145% have their result fully processed and released, while 85% of the results were held due to certain issues.
The analysis of the statistics of the performance of candidates in the examination shows that out of the 1,613,733 candidates that sat the examination, 1,361,608 candidates, representing 84.38%, obtained credit and above in a minimum of any 5 subjects with or without English language or mathematics. 1,287,920 candidates, representing 79.81%, obtained credits and above in a minimum of 5 subjects, including English language and mathematics. Of this number, 616,914, that is 47.9%, were male candidates, while 671,006, that is 52.1%, were female candidates. The percentage of candidates in this category in the WASC for School Candidates 2022, that is, those who obtained credit and above in a minimum of 5 subjects, including English language and mathematics, in the 2022 edition was 76.36%. Thus, there is a 3.45% increase in performance in regard of this.
A non-governmental organization, the Federal Nigerian Society for the Blind Vocational Training Center, Oshodi, has conducted its first exhibition since the pandemic lockdown to display the students' artwork and also solicit for funds. The exhibition also aimed to motivate persons living with disabilities on their ability to achieve their goals despite the challenges they face. Our correspondent Sidney Okafor has more details in this next report.
Seated here are students of the Federal Nigerian Society for the Blind, as well as stakeholders from different walks of life who have come together to support the institution. Since 1955, this voluntary non-profiting organization has been working to rehabilitate, educate, empower, and create collaborative support system for the blind people. According to Ayokpeju Njideka, the chairman of the Board of Governors of the Vocational Training Center for the Blind, being impaired does not mean the end of one's life. Rather, there is life after disability.
Here our focus is on people who suffer blindness or visual impairment in adolescence or adulthood. So that's our focus. So these are people, in some cases, they're young people who are in secondary school. In other cases, they're professionals who, based on the hazard of their job or life, different things like glaucoma and all that, suffer blindness. So we bring them in here and rehabilitate.
If you are disabled, visually disabled or blind, you are still able to do what others can do.
Over 27 million Nigerians are living with some forms of disability according to the United States World Report on Disability. But for the students of the institution, having to deal with disability is a challenge but does not deter them from acquiring skills in music, art and craft, tie and dye and other expertise.
I think that every hope was lost. There's no alternative for me. I was even considering death because I count myself as if I'm no longer useful. But the time I get into the vocational training center, precisely here, Oshodi, of course, from here, as it is now presently now, I'm good to go.
Psychotherapeutic measures that have been applied, to help, empower them and restabilize them, that they can go back to the society, and rather than become dependent, they become independent.
Persons with disability face discrimination and barriers that restrict them from participating in society on an equal basis with others every day. The Executive Secretary of the Federal Nigerian Society for the Blind says society must work together, putting an end to all forms of discrimination against them.
So what we do here today is for the world to see what the blind can do. There's still a large level of discrimination and stereotype. Many see the visually impaired and think they are beggars, they think they are indigent, but that's not the narrative in the Vocational Training Center for the Blind. Anyone here today, whether blind or sighted, we are equals.
The students are trained in braille reading and writing, touch typing, telephone and dictaphone or audio typing, and computer training, as well as extracurricular activity including home economics. Now it is 67th year of the existence. The Federal Nigerian Society for the Blind Vocational Training Center has graduated well over 3,000 blind men and women in its 2-year superbly guided training. Sydney Okafo, TV360 News, Lagos.
We'll take a break here, but still to come, Air France suspends flights to Burkina Faso, Mali after Niger airspace closure. We'll bring you details of the story when we return.
Opinions are free, facts are sacred, but truth is universal.
How, in practical terms, can we, for instance, de-escalate the tension?
President must see himself as the President of the Federal Republic.
We know where the enemy is. 3 places. The Lake Chad Basin, the border area between Nigeria and Cameroon, and then the Sambisa Forest.
On Digi360, we give you a complete dose of everything. Opinion, facts and undiluted truth.
I hardly believe what politicians say in this part of the world.
A new Nigeria is possible, a future is possible.
We delve into the issues, dissect it so that you can understand it, use it to take action.
I don't think there's any need for any governor to look for grant for ranching.
Digi360, dissecting the issues.
Welcome back. Now here's a recap of some of our top stories tonight. The Economic Community of West African States, ECOWAS, has scheduled a fresh meeting over the Niger Republic coup as the deadline earlier set for the military junta has elapsed. The ECOWAS leaders will be considering and discussing the political situation and recent developments in Niger during the summit. We also told you that the screening of ministerial nominee Festus Keyamo threw the Nigerian Senate's plenary into a rowdy session following a point of order raised by Senator representing Abia Central, Darlington Onwakocha. Onwakocha said Keyamo had in the last administration refused to appear before the Senate to explain how the 52 billion naira appropriated for the program to recruit 1,000 youths from each of the 774 local governments was spent. Now, in case you missed any of our news bulletins or for more updates, you can catch us on Limex World TV or log on to our website on www.tv360nigeria.com. You can also follow us on our social media platforms on Twitter, Instagram, and YouTube at TV360 Nigeria, on Facebook or at TV360 Online. Welcome back. Let's now join Mary Kanu with business news. Over to you, Mary.
Thank you, Simisola. Welcome to Business News. The federal government has banned transit cargo to neighboring Niger Republic with instructions to officers of the Nigeria Customs Service to be on red alert while manning the land borders. The Acting Controller General of Customs, Adewale Adeniyi, gave the directive to officers of the service during a working visit to the headquarters of the Ogun Area 1 Command of the NCS at Idiroko, Ogun State. Adewale said officers must be on the lookout at the Benin Republic, Cameroon and other land borders. He also urged the officers to maintain a high level of vigilance as a result of the recent closure of Nigeria's border with Niger Republic, adding that special attention must be given to transit goods heading to Niger. Well, let's take a break here and return with stock market report. Nigeria's equities market opened the new week on a positive note as investors showed remarkable buy interest in stocks like GlaxoSmithKline, GSK Nigeria. GSK had last week disclosed plans to cease operations in Nigeria, which piqued the interest of investors, raising its share price by 9.55%. In a similar fashion, the local bourse is up 0.21%, that is 65,336 basis points. Our market breadth shows 26 equities recorded losses, while 25 others made gains. Now, on the back of the negative market breadth, a short summary of today's trading shows declines in volume and turnover, but 4% improvement in deals. Now, analysts say they expect the bullish sentiments in the equities market to persist on the back of the market's attractiveness over the depressed rates and the fixed income market. A switch now to the global scene. While the bull is showing off for the Dow Jones and Nikkei, the FTSE is trading down as the last of earnings season results rolls in, with two key inflation prints ahead, and the FTSE is trading down at 0.13%. But that's the stock market report. Simisola, over to you.
Thank you, Mary, for the update. And Air France has suspended flights to and from Bamako and Ouagadougou, the capital cities of Mali and Burkina Faso, respectively, until August 11. The airline company made this known on Monday after closure of its airspace, forcing expected longer flight durations in the West African region. The suspension adds to a range of African airspace confronting geopolitical interruptions, including Libya and Sudan, with some flights facing up to 1,000 kilometers in detours. Well, up next is Entertainment Report on News Now. All right, in sports, Nigeria will not play in the quarterfinal at the ongoing FIFA Women's World Cup in Australia and New Zealand. This comes after the Super Falcons lost to England via penalty shootout in the round of 16 on Monday. Nigeria had played a 0-0 draw with England after 120 minutes. Desire Okparanoze and Michelle Aloze missed their sport kicks during the penalty shootout. However, Nigerians have praised the Super Falcons for their efforts, adding that more is expected in future tournaments.
We all expected that we'll go beyond this very level, but it was a bit disappointing. But I mean, we have to just encourage our own girls, our own Falcons, because they have done very, very well all along. Even though this illustration came today, and we didn't see it coming actually, and I'm sure for most of them too, they didn't see that coming. But we want to encourage them, to just keep their head straight and keep focusing for, better opportunity. But really, it's really, really discouraging. And for some of us, I've chosen not to eat, and I've not feeling I'm not ready to eat now until I get myself balanced, because really, we expect that we'll go beyond this very level, but it was disappointing actually.
The match was very, very interesting, and the girls, they played their heart. They really played. I watched the game from the beginning to the end. Just that, in fact, it's what England could not believe, that these girls can hold them or hold them to that point. So it was a game of luck, and when it comes to penalties, but truly, the girls, they played.
I was not really expecting much, because we've been playing well for our past matches though. I was expecting us to win, but despite all we played, we still lost. But I guess we played all right.
For me, I just believe that luck was not on their side. They really tried. They played well. The England team was not. You can imagine a team that is ranked 4th playing with a team that is ranked 14th in the world ranking. So they tried their best, but penalty ended up in a penalty shootout, and at the end of the day, luck was not just on their side. That's just my own view about it. They did well. They did very, very well.
As for me, I don't like watching football, but I pick up interest of watching football today for those girls. At least they really, really tried. They tried. They have a good performances, and best of them. No, despite they lose the match. In short, I gave them recommendation, A+ for them.
For more analysis on the game between Nigeria and England, Itoro Jimmy, who is a sports journalist, joins me now. Thank you very much for joining us. Now, everyone was rooting for the Super Falcons, and we hoped that the team would proceed to the quarterfinals. Now, briefly, how would you assess the game?
Honestly, it was a very, very technical game, and the Super Falcons really played their heart out. They really, really did well. I think this was the best game World Cup, and it was very, very impressive. I mean, they outdid the English team. If you look at the ranking between the two teams, you see that England is ranked 4th and the Super Falcons are ranked 40th. I mean, like, kudos to our goalkeeper, Chiamaka Nadozie, and Ashley Plumtree, the defender, and a whole lot. I mean, the whole team really did well. They played their hearts out. And I must say, England were lucky. They were really lucky to go through. Tactically, the team really did well. I felt the coach should have made some brief changes.
All right, sports journalist Itoro Jimmy, we lost her there. Hopefully the Super Falcons will go further than this point in subsequent World Cup tournaments. Well, thank you very much for your insight. Well, that's it on our news this evening, and thanks for watching. I'm Simisola Adigun.